friends, welcome to my channel MN Coaching Center. So today I'm going to explain your chapter Socialist chapter 2, that is 9th standard, and this is Punjab medium. So let's come to the chapter Social in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So the liberals, radicals and conservatives. So liberals, first let's know about the liberals. So they wanted secularism, safeguarding the rights of individual against the government, and they opposed the uncontrolled power of dynastic rules, and also argument for representatives elected parliamentary government, and also wanted interpretation of law by a well-trained judiciary that was independent on rulers and officials, and they did not believe in universal adult franchise and wanted to right to vote for only the men of property, only wanted to right to vote for only to the men of the property, and did not support the granting of vote for the women, granting vote right for the women they did not give. So radicals supported women's suffrage movements, so they supported the women, the movements that were done by the women, and they also opposed the privilege of great landowners, so they opposed the privilege of great landowner and the wealth of factory owners, and also they disliked the concentration, of power in the hands of few, but were not against the existence of private property. So their power was in only some few hands, but they were not fighting for the existence of the property. So conservatives wanted some changes. They wanted some changes and believed that the past had to be respected, and conservatives believed that the past has to be respected. So industrial society and social change. So industrialization brought men and women and children to the factories. Working hours increased and the wages decreased. Unemployment was rampant and no proper housing was given. And the liberals and the radicals encouraged trade and believed in individual effort and labor enterprise. And some nationalism liberals and radicals wanted revolutions for and they wanted revolutions. Liberals and radicals encouraged trade and believed in individual effort and labor enterprises, and some national liberals and radicals wanted revolutions for removing the government establishment in Europe in 1815. So the coming of socialism in Europe. So socialism, as well known by the mid of 19th century in Europe, it was well known to all the people, and socialists opposed private property. So they opposed the private properties and believed that if a society as a whole control property, more attention would be paid to collective social interest, and and also more attention was paid to the collective social interest, and some socialists like Robert Vaughan believed in the ideas of cooperatives. They believed, and other like Louis Blanc felt that cooperative could be built only if the government encouraged them. The cooperative could be built, and cooperative were association of people who produced goods together and divided the profits equally. So it is people who produce goods together and divided the profits to equal part. And Karl Marx, Karl Marx, who argued that an industrial society was capitalist, which exploited the workers. Industrialization and industrial society, they exploited the workers and kept the profit for themselves. So the profit that came to the industry, they kept to themselves, and they cheated the workers. And he believed that workers had to construct a radical society where all property was socially controlled. So workers had to construct their own property where all the social properties were socially controlled. Karl Marx said. In support of socialism, socialists formed an international body named the Second International, and they set up funds for helping members in time of distress, and demands a reduction of working hours, and the right to vote was made. And in Germany, there This association worked with Socialist Democratic Party and helped in the winning of parliamentary election. And in 1905, socialists and trade unionists formed a Labour Party in Britain, and a Socialist Party in France was made in 1905. And socialism, however, could not proceed. The influence of the radicals, liberally and conservatives, they could not proceed. Liberals and conservation. So the Russian Empire in 1914, Tsar Nicholas II. So Tsars were controlling the Russia at that time. So Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia, and Russia Empire included current day. It was having Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, and Ukraine, Belarus, Central Asian states, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and the territory outside the Moscow. And the majority religion was Russian Orthodox Christianity. So the Russian Orthodox Christianity was the major religion there. And economy and society. So about 85% of the Russian population were doing agriculture and cultivation produced from both market and their own needs. So the cultivation produced for both market and their own needs. And industrialization, if industries were few in number. So and Petersburg and Moscow were the prominent industrial areas. So these places were the prominent industrial area at that time. And in 1890, many factories were set up when the Russian railway network was extended. Many factories were started in 1890s. And after that, foreign investment in industry also increased. Coal production doubled, and iron and steel output also uh, quadrupt increased in Russia. And government supervised the large they observed the large factories for ensuring giving minimum wages and limited hours of work. For these all rules they are following or not, the rules that are given by government, is they are following or not, they are observing. And the working hour for the craft units and small workshops was 15 hours, and factories working unit was for 10 to 12 hours. Now it is in 8 hours, but that time they were giving 10 to 12 hours, and small workshops were working for 15 hours. And women made up 31% of factories labor. So women also working in 31% of factory labor in from for factories labor forced by 1914. So from 1914 they were working, and but they were paid between half and three quarter of man wage. So half of the man wage that is paid. If they are paid to 300, they were, for women they were giving only 150 or 175, 200, like that they were giving. Workers association were formed for helping members in times of financial hardship or unemployment. Workers union was formed. And 1896 to 1897, workers strike for in textile industry. And 1902, workers strike in the metal industry. And the crown and the Orthodox Church owned large property. So the Orthodox Church were having large property, and the peasants disliked the nobility. So the peasants they disliked this, and the nobles got their power and position through their services to the Tsar. The nobles got their power into that. In 1902 to 1905, the Russian peasants wanted to land of the nobles to be given to them, and they refused to pay the rent, and also murdered the landlords who are owning that land. Next is socialism in Russia. Before 1914, all political parties were illegal in Russia, and 1898, the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party was formed, which operated illegal due to government policy, and they were illegal. And it set up a newspaper, mobilized workers, and organized strikes. And in the 900, active socialist in the countryside formed the Socialism Revolutionary Party was formed, and the party demanded for peasants' right and transfer the land from the nobles to the peasants. And Vladimir Lenin, so Lenin, as you know, Lenin who became the Russian human learner higher classes about Lenin, led the Bolshevik group and believed that in a repressive society the party should be disciplined and should control the number and quality of its members. And the other social groups named the Menshevik adopted advocated entry for all in the party, and in 1905 the Russian liberally Russia wanted abolishment and autonomy after the Tsar revolution was ended. And in 1905 liberal the society democrats and the socialist revolutionaries along with the peasants and the workers revolted for their constitution. They revolted for having a constitution, and they were supported by nationalism in that empire and by jihadist in a Muslim dominated area. So causes are in 1904 price of essential goods increased while the real income declined by, so real income was 20% less but price of essential goods were increased. And bloody Sunday means 10,000 workers in Petersburg, in a place called Petersburg, as you know. In Petersburg and Moscow was a very main place for industries. So there in Petersburg went a strike demanding for a reduction of working time to 8 hours and increase the wages and improve the working condition. They were demanding. Over 100 workers were killed, about 300 got wounded, and this incident is known as Bloody Sunday, and it is responsible for 1905 revolution. So strikes took place all over the country, universally closed down, and the student body staged walkouts and complaining about the lack of civil liberty. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, and other middle class workers established the Union of Unions and demanded for constituent assembly. And the Tsar allowed the creation of elected consultative parliament or Duma, and the Tsar did not want any questions of this authority or any reduction in his power. They did not want. So the First World War and the Russian Revolution. In 1914, the First World War broke out between the European and countries like Germany, Austria, and Turkey, and between Germany, Austria, and Turkey, and between France, Britain, and Russia. And in 1914, Russian army, 14 to 1916, Russian army lost badly with Austria and Germany, and industries and industrial equipments disintegrated more rapidly in Russia, and then elsewhere in Europe it rapidly fallen, and labor and shortages and small workers producing essential were shut down. They were shut down due to war. And in 1916, rotis at bread shops were common owing to be bread and flour scarcity. So there were bread and flour scarcity. And February revolution in Petrograd, February 1917, food shortage were deeply felt in the workers' quarter. There was food shortage, and the Tsar wanted to dissolve the Duma. So the Tsar wanted to dissolve that Duma, that is their constitution, but the revolutionary opposed this. And in 22nd February 1917, a lockout took place at the factory, which was followed by the worker strike in 50 factories. Women led the strike in many factories, and this day is called as the International Women Day. Women, so it is called as International Women Day. Next is in 25th February 1917, the government suspended the Duma, the Constitution Assembly. Then, striking workers and soldiers gathered a form of Soviet or council in the same building where the Duma met, and this where the Petrograd Soviet. And in 2nd March 1917, the Tsars abdicated on the advice of military commanders, and the Soviet leaders and the drama leaders formed a provisional government for the running the country, and a constitutional assembly was elected on the basis of universal adult suffrage for deciding the nature of government in Russia. It was formed. So okay friends, here it is enough. I will explain the next topic of Russian Revolution in my next video. So till here you understand anything so about Tsar's revolution or constitution, and first world war, what are the problems caused in Russia. Next let's know about the Russian Revolution, more about it. So okay friends, bye, see you, take care. I will see you in the next video explaining the other topic of this chapter. Till then, take care, like the video, comment on it, and subscribe my channel and coaching center for more videos. Okay friends, bye, see you, take care. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Have a nice day. Bye my dear friends.